Hi there, good to see you again. We're going to read again the Big Picture Story Bible, and this week we're on part 5, and it says, God's people grow. At last it happened. God kept his promise to Abraham and gave him a son, Isaac. God's promise of a new people was beginning to grow. And so God's promise passed on from Abraham to Isaac. When Isaac grew up, he gave birth to a son called Jacob. God's promise was beginning to grow and grow. And so God's promise passed on from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob. And when Jacob grew up, God gave him 12 sons. And he named them Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Zebulun, Issachar, Dan, Gad, Asher, Naphtali, Joseph, and Benjamin. There's some funny names there, isn't there? We don't have people who are called Issachar now very much, do we? But God's promise was beginning to grow and grow and grow. But while God's people were growing in number, they were also growing apart. Jacob's many sons hated their younger brother Joseph, and they did an evil thing. They put him in a pit and then sold him to be a slave in a faraway place. Well, isn't that sad? See, there's Joseph being sold, and this is him in prison over here. Do you think Joseph was all alone in faraway Egypt? No, he wasn't alone. God was with Joseph. And God was going to use this evil thing that had happened to Joseph for good. God showed Joseph that in a few years there wouldn't be enough food for all the hungry people in the land. Joseph believed God. And Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, believed Joseph. He put Joseph in charge of the kingdom, and Joseph helped him by storing up food. Then came the time of trouble, just as God had said. People came from distant lands, but to buy the stored food in Egypt. They were hungry and about to die. And when Joseph's father, Jacob, heard that there was food in Egypt, he told his sons to go and buy some, and so they went to Egypt. And Joseph, now a very powerful man, recognized them. But his brothers did not recognize Joseph. See Joseph up here in the big seat, powerful man, and these are his brothers bowing down to him. I wonder what Joseph will do. After all these years, Joseph could have gotten even with them. Joseph could have sold them as slaves. Joseph could have killed them. But instead, Joseph gave them food. Joseph forgave them. He told them not to worry. He told them that God had been with him in Egypt. And he told them God had sent him ahead to Egypt so that God's people would not die. Soon, Jacob's family would begin to grow in Egypt. So we see that God was keeping his promise, and God's family was growing and growing. And even when bad things happened, God was still in control. Well, you might want to draw a picture maybe of God's big family and how God was keeping his promise. Maybe the food that Joseph was giving to his brothers. But we'll see you next time for the next part.